Good morning, participants, and let's begin the ball rolling. And the topic which I'm going to speak is the uh, basic concept introduction of the topic of the workshop, theme of the workshop. So, the topic which I have selected for this presentation is digital humanities, significance, and conceptual debates. See, in our life, ICT has a very important role to play. And now every individual is required to have certain ICT skills. And these ICT skills particularly very important in our entire life. We may be studying, we may be working, we may be any kind of professional. So what is the importance of these ICT skill? Why it is important in current context? Uh, So there are some of things which let me just remind you. I know you all know all those things. The ability to switch on computer, log in to connect to appropriate programs, using ICT hardware to scan, print, and copy documents, using a digital camera to capture photographs or video footage, editing images using computer software like Adobe Photoshop, using popular software like Microsoft Office, Excel, and all those kind of programs, and using different kind of search engines, browsing on social media or posting, uploading photographs and all those things, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, using computers and the internet safely, for example, keeping personal information private and avoiding viruses, identity theft, and their online threats, sending and receiving information using data sharing application and cloud storage system, for example, Google Drive, Dropbox. So these are some of the skills, in my opinion, every student, every faculty must possess. Uh, these are the essential ICT skills. And when we talk about the other technology, particularly smart technologies, that's these smart technologies are making us interconnected, integrating our uh, offices, our various kind of area of activities, and with the help of various kind of smart devices like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or wired internet, use of various kind of camera like what I'm talking to you. I'm sitting very far from you. I'm having this laptop. I'm having a Wi-Fi connection. I'm having a camera in my laptop. So I'm just in front of you, just like I'm live. I'm in front of you. There is hardly any difference between if I'm talking to you in a classroom or I'm talking to you right now on this uh, technology. So this is the example of smart technology. You are somewhere else, I'm somewhere else, but we are interconnected. I'm speaking, you are listening. You can respond. You can give your comments to me. You can ask questions to me. So this is the new way of life, and this pandemic has shown us that how important is this life in near futures to come. When we talk about research and innovation, basically research and innovation are greatly influenced by the technology. What do you mean by research and innovation? Research and innovation will address societal challenges and be aligned with values, needs, and expectations of the general public. This is not just an ethical or societal issue, it is about improving scientific production, diversifying research programs, and considering the complexity of the real world. I think this is the one area India need to improve a lot. We are among the top 5 countries in the world in terms of research publications, number of research publications. But when we talk about originality of research. When we talk about our citations, our average citation score is less than 1. We are not even among top 10 countries in terms of citation score in the Asia. Forget about the world. So this is something very important to understand, that we may be in humanities or in science and technology. We need to really do the research for innovations. So this research and innovations are quite linked, and that's the basic purpose of use of ICT in any kind of area. Now, currently you are living in an internet age. Internet has become part and partial of your life. Internet is evolving. Every day you find new thing, and now we are in a very interactive internet environment. We call it Internet of Things, and this Internet of Things is making us more closer. The uh, world has become a global place, and this is the true application of Internet of Things. Our IoT, when with the various kind of device connectivity, we are sharing our all live images, or we are talking live, and we are attending live. So this Internet of Thing has led to education 4.0, and this education 4.0 is known as future of education, where man and machine align to enable new possibilities, harness the potential of digital technologies, personalized data, open source content, and the new humanity of this globally connected technology fueled world. The Education 4.0 establishes a blueprint for the future learning, lifelong learning from childhood schooling to continuous learning in the workplace to learning to play a better role in the society. So now it's more about learning, not about teaching. It is not about teaching, it is more about mentorship. It is more about kind of guide, a friend, philosopher. And in this context, this scenario has changed a lot. We are talking about education or access to information anywhere, anytime. We are talking more about personalized information. We are talking about flexible delivery of information, delivery of teaching content, learning contents. And we are talking about peers and mentors, not teachers. The teacher's word is going away from the education system in years to come. Why were and how? There's so many questions. Now it is not something just making a classroom lecture and you are going out of that. Now there are questions raised: why, where not, what, how, and focus is more on practical applications, not theoretical information. And student ownership has become key. It is about evaluation, not just this paper examination. So this scenario, what we are facing in education 4.0 environment, where e-learning tools facilitate opportunity for remote self-paced learning, flipped classroom where theoretical part is learned outside the classroom. It involves personalized learning, blended learning, flipped classroom, and bring your own device culture has grown like anything. It is more about project-based learning and working student to obtain real-world skill what are represented to their jobs. Courseware platform which assesses students' capabilities at each step, measuring their competencies, student ownership, mentoring will become fundamental to student success. So we are in such an environment, and internet and learning has become a very important component. Internet is a kind of uh, component which is having both challenges and opportunities. Internet has not become a key for this new education 4.0, and internet provide you many things, everything. And internet has good thing, bad thing, and certain thing which you don't require to make use of it. So, access to the internet is fundamental to achieving this vision for the future. It can improve the quality of education in many ways. It opens doorways to a wealth of information, knowledge, and educational resources, increasing opportunity for learning in and beyond the classroom. The internet has become a unique platform for learning. It is available around the clock, anywhere, anytime, and it has now multiple resources. Earlier, we have a library only, but now internet has also become part of library collection. Internet is not a substitute for library. Internet is one of the component of library. So in that context, you have to understand that internet has to be really understood in right context. You need to understand when you search on internet, there are certain challenges. And as a student, you need to understand those challenges. Like Google or any other standard search engines does not index more than 15 to 20% web contents. So how to search those 80 to 85% contents? We need to learn about it. Google search does not certify the authenticity of the information. Information is fake or it's a disinformation or misinformation. Google will never tell you. While searching on Google, you may not get most relevant results higher up in the relevancy ranking. That's another problem. So Google has many things, but basically it has not everything. It doesn't provide everything. So how to basically find out ways and means of searching the web? Web, which is divided into three components: surface web, deep web, and dark web. Surface web is what you search on Google or any other standard search engine. Deep web is something you find a lot of academic information, government resources. So another challenge for you is to really understand what to get out of this deep web and how to search that deep web, which is almost free, and it contains large amount of very various valuable information. So there are ways of searching that deep web, and that is called various kind of search engines for deep web. It may be a semantic search tool databases, meta search engines like academic index, general search engines in databases like oyster, academic search engines in databases like Google Scholar, scientific search engine databases like GoPubMed, collaborative information databases like Delicious, open access search engine like Core. So internet has many things, but how really educate ourselves to make use of this open source movement? Like there are a lot of open contents, there are a lot of open, but this open access journals are quality journal also and predatory journal also. Similarly, anybody can put anything under open data, open information. So you have to really know which are the most important sites, which are the most important contents which can be searched. So in such a scenario, you are living and you have challenges, multiple challenges in internet. So my basic purpose of briefing about the technology challenges is that technology is very important. Technology also bring opportunities, and technology also bring a lot of uh, challenges also. And how to face those challenges, we need to learn. So similarly, digital humanities also bringing a lot of technology to you. So you need to understand what are the challenges of digital humanities, what are the opportunity for you as a. So let's start understanding this in digital humanities. But before understanding digital humanities, we have to understand humanities. What is humanity? Humanities covers subject like ethics and law, literature, language, literature and linguistic, archaeology, philosophy and reason, history, social sciences, and also art history. So this is the basic definition of humanities, and there are in all these subjects of humanities have evolved a lot. Methodologies from traditional humanities to the modern technologies have been emerged. So how to define these digital humanities? Uh, Simply, digital humanities an academic field concerned with application of computational tools and methods to traditional humanities disciplines such as literature, history, and philosophy. Let's talk about another definition. The digital humanities comprises the study of what happens at the intersection of computing tools with cultural artifacts of all kinds. and how these common tools may be used to make new knowledge from our cultural inheritance and from the contemporary world. Uh, Malte Revin has given a much clearer definition of digital humanities. So basically, it is application of computer-based methods for the humanities. Though on some occasions I prefer humanities computing to make clear that these applications often have to be developed and that a lot of basic research is required. What I don't like about the term DH is that it implies that there is a digital humanities as opposed to non-digital humanities, but there is not. In the future, computer-based methods will be naturally used by any scholar. It is not like experimental versus theoretical physics. So please try to understand that it is not possible to work without computers in future. So ultimately, uh, there is nothing traditional humanities. It is all digital humanities. Let's talk about some more definitions given by some different people, because this is important to create an awareness and to understand the various terms or concepts behind this digital humanities. So Annie said that digital humanity is born of the encounter between traditional humanities and computational methods. There is Jonah has given a definition. Digital humanities work at the intersection of digital technology and humanities disciplines. Uh, Another definition given by the Dig Humanities Manifesto is that digital humanity is less a unified field than an array of convergent practices that explore a universe in which print is no longer the primary medium in which knowledge is produced and disseminated. Somehow, this is a futuristic scenario because in years to come, I'm sure uh, we are going to see less print, more digital. Although in 1980s, there was a scientist, F.W. Lancaster, he forecasted about a paperless society. But since then, we see more paper consumption has seen in the area. But one thing is very true that we are moving in a direction where there is a less paper and more uh, digital. And in that context, uh, the primary medium of production and dissemination of information will become digital. And that's the future we are going to see. So, digital humanities also referred as humanities computing. Basically, it provides opportunity for applying information sciences skill to humanities application. One of the most important uh, component or the merger of information science to humanity is also digital humanities. It includes providing access to humanities materials via markup, digitization, and digital archiving. It includes devising analytical procedures for working with born digital humanities materials. It includes creating digital tools for humanities research. So, in true sense, this is an interaction between discipline of humanities and digital humanities incorporate both digitized and born digital materials. It is also combines methodologies from the digital humanities discipline because vast amount of our resources are in print or in other medias in the past. So now when we are talking about the future, we have to see the born digital material as well the material which is already it is available in digitized form. So let's talk about evolving how digital humanity has evolved over the years. Although this concept is very new, but if you see the historical background, in 1945, Father Roberto Bussa began his index of every word in the work of St. Thomas Aquinas. And 1963, Computers and Humanities was founded. In 1978, founding of the Association for Computers and the Humanities. In 1985, PERSIS project began at Harvard University. In 1996, first draft of XML spec released. In 2006, NEH Office of Digital Humanities created, and in 2011, Digital Humanity 2011 was a startup at Stand Forwarding. Yes, some of the development which may be considered a kind of genesis of digital humanities. So, when you conceptualize digital humanities, what are the various concepts of digital humanities? What it contains? What are the different types of concept associated with digital humanities? So, when we talk about conceptual debates, it includes digital culture, digital artifacts, computational technologies, transdisciplinary engagement, data modeling, data mining, digital aesthetics, digital art, digital curation, digital preservation. If you go a little beyond, even all immersive technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, all that mixed realities, all that become part of digital humanities concept. So to understand digital humanities, we required to understand all these various terms and terminologies dealing with this uh, digital humanities. Right. So when you want to map digital humanities, there are certain subjects which are very much part of digital humanities, like literary studies, distant reading, history, media, arts, design, maybe media studies. All these are perfectly part of digital humanities. When we are talking about various kind of text encoding, text analysis, topic modeling, social network analysis, mapping, all these things become part of digital humanities. But there are certain uh, discipline which are near humanities and have played role in digital humanities, like information science. Library information science is very much part of digital humanities because it has many direct relationship and indirect relationship with digital humanities. Anthropology, archaeology, sociology, and political science are also somehow part of digital humanities and humanity discipline. But when we talk about sciences, computer science, engineering, communication, geography, now let's try to understand. We are talking about the computational methods as a part of digital humanity, but computer science as a subject is not part of digital humanities or humanities. So this is some kind of more clear understanding of the concept of digital humanities. So when we talk about use of digital technologies, how, what are the requirement of when as a researcher or as a student, why we need technologies? We need to uh, use technologies to gather any kind of information, literature, and to record references, to discuss issues with your supervisor, to discuss issues with fellow students, to discuss with the students, to take classes, to keep the current academic debates, to attend conference, to present paper, to write research report, to write research proposals, to write research article, monographs, books, and also to uh, have different other engagement. So now in all everything, this technology has become a very important role. So in this entire research, academic research and innovations, uh, computing has become very important. Computing for information retrieval, for data visualization, for data mining, for any kind of statistical analysis or computational analysis. So everywhere, these computers have become very important. And without use of computers or digital technologies, you cannot pursue, go forward or pursue your research interest or research activities. So, what are the important components of digital humanities? Data and databases, data classification systems and theories, ontology and metadata standards. For information retrieval, ontology and metadata standards are very important component because Now, when we talk about the conceptualization, we are talking about retrieval of any kind of literature or indexing or uh, uh, knowledge organization. Ontologies and metadata standards become very, very important part of that. Information visualization, that is also a very important component of digital humanities. Data mining and analysis, cultural analytics, and GIS and mapping. So all these are very, very important component of digital humanities. Now, various kind of methods used in digital humanities, like data capturing, data entry, data mining, data analysis, text encoding, text analysis, data structuring. So all this become very, very important methods of digital humanities. There are a number of work has been done in terms of working methods, like uh, when you are writing online blog or uh, various kind of text analysis in data mining, digital exhibition, digital mapping, data visualization, link data, photogrammetry, virtual world, 3D modeling. All this become part of digital humanities. And now a lot of work has been done. I think in your 1 week program, I will be circulating these slides to all of you through Shipra, and you can just try to work on these tools and try to learn about these tools. Then it will be more clear to you that there are some examples of the tools available which can help you in further understanding the various kind of like text analysis tools, how it works. So all this list in slide is about various kind of data text analysis tools. It may be Wordley, Wine Tools, Mallet, Worsted, JMP, Nivivo, and SEO tools. So these tools can help you further understanding about the one of the component of digital humanities, that is a text analysis and tools. Digital, where there are various kind of digital exhibition platform, because now it is more important, and particularly in this current pandemic, digital exhibitions have become very popular, and digital exhibitions also help in reaching out the large people throughout the world, because the physical exhibition help you in just a certain kind of limited area. So these are some of the examples of digital exhibition. There are a number of other digital humanities tools, and I'm sure during this course there may be some more discussion by other aspect on these tools like Omeka. Omeka is a free, flexible, and open source web publishing platform for the display of library, museum, archives, and scholarly collections and exhibitions. Uh, Drupal is also a very important open source content management system. Uh, Tapor is a gateway to free online tools for sophisticated text analysis and retrieval, along with representative text for experimentation. Point is web-based text analysis tools. There are some commercial tools also which are available on the cost, both Oxygen and Wordsmith. Uh, then there is a this Oxygen is basically cross-platform XML editor that may use to create and validate XML documents and associate schema. Wordsmith is allow users to develop concordance, find keywords, and develop a word list from plain text file. Uh, Metadata standards are very important in digital humanities, because when you are developing any kind of database or any kind of resource, in that case, the standardization is very important. So we already have certain kind of developed metadata standards, like Dublin Core is very, very important and famous, developed by OCLC. Then there are various kind of uh, other options available. Linked data. Linked data describes a method of publishing structured data so that it can be interlinked and become more useful through semantic queries. There are other metadata standards developed by various association for different purposes, like for preservation. Premise is there, for encoding data in EAD there for virtual reality and other thing, VRA core. And resource description framework is also very popular nowadays. So in all these things, there are different examples of data visualization tools. You can explore these tools to know more about it, like Kato, D3, Gephi, film strips, information is beautiful, map story, paper machine, mapping tools, nggram, buoyant world map. So all these visualization tools you can also try and explore in due course of time. There are a number of web publishing tools, which I have given example here. Homoika and Neatline, Scalar, Story Map, and Time Mapper. There are a lot of data mining tools available in open access, and you can try these data mining tools. And I'm sure somebody who will be taking a lecture on data mining tools. Can you give more details about that? I'm not expert on this data mining, so this Mallet, Juxta, Annotation Studio, Notavan, TI encoding, and all these things are like Juxta is an open source tool for comparing and collating multiple witness to a single textual work, originally designed to aid scholars and editors examine the history of a uh, text from manuscript to print, which just offers a number of possibilities for humanities, computing, and textual scholarship. So all these things need to be understand. There are more data mining tools, Birdseer, Time Mapper, Becca3, computer edit, textual markup, and analysis. Now, there are a number of other digital humanity tools like toolboxes, registries, crawlers, and more. So there are some more example of all those: Bermuda, uh, Bibliopedia, Color Brewer. So all these things are available, and I think during this 1 week program, you can just try to uh, uh, learn about these tools. Now, it is important to know about some live examples, some projects which are already been there in digital humanities. I think if you explore these projects, you can have more understanding, better understanding of the concept of digital humanities. So if you go to these projects like Lore in Australia, Old Ballet in UK, Tapor in Canada, Nines in USA, Monk project in USA. So all these projects can give you more understanding that how basically digital humanities works and what are the advantages. There are some more project like there is the 18th Century Connect, DH Common projects, Enriching the Desert, uh, Modernets, a Born Digital Interactive History of Grand Canyon, Nines and Persist. So all these projects can be explored. More detail can be find on the internet, and you can have better idea about all these. Like Playdays is basically a community-built gazetteer and graph of ancient places. Playdays gives researchers the ability to use, create, and share historical geographical information about the ancient world in digital form. At present, Palladius covers the Greek and Roman world and is expanding into ancient Near Eastern, Humanities, Celtic, and early medieval geography. And also, when we talk about this Separados torn apart, it is basically rapidly deployed critical data and visualization intervention in the US in terms of the zero tolerance policy for asylum seekers in the US ports entry, like you have seen during this past regime's time, there were a lot of restrictions on that. So this is all about various projects which can give you some more understanding. Now, using digital technology to facilitate connection. So all these social networking, not just about Facebook, various kind of research networks like ResearchGate, Academia, microblogging, and other Twitter and all those Mendeley. There are so many examples of digital technologies help in connections. So, what are the digital humanities goal? Encourage innovations in the digital humanities through research that brings new approaches or documents best practices. creation of digital tools for preserving, analyzing, and making accessible digital resources, and examination of the philosophical implications and impact of emerging technologies. That's all are the goals of the humanities. Now, many times people get confused between digital libraries and digital humanities. See, digital libraries and digital humanities are entirely different concepts. Although there are a lot of commonality, there are certain correlations, there are certain connection between digital libraries and digital humanities. So digital libraries provide the resources, offer intellectual access to, and ensure the persistent over time of collection of digital works for use by a defined community or set of communities. When we compare digital humanity with digital libraries, see, basically, digital library is an organization, a kind of thing which provide uh, with certain objective to create resources for a large audience. Digital humanities may be more focused, individualistic approach, and digital library is either a digitization or digital conversion, and putting in a systematic format to get it access. But digital humanities also involve data capturing, data gathering, and research data management. Uh, Digital library more of digital curation and management. Digital humanities also involved analysis of the data. Digital library is just focused on access and delivery to the concern, but digital humanities more focused towards uh, adding some different dimensions in enhancing the quality of the data, and also uh, synthesizing, and also making it uh, uh, individualistic usable. Digital library is having all kind of standards and rights, copyrights, intellectual property rights. uh, Digital humility is more about workspaces. Digital libraries are generally using primary or secondary data, uh, but digital humanity is always creating primary data, new data. Digital library is about reused. Uh, it is about the creation of new data, and uh, digital library is more about scholarly communication, and digital humanities also include certain kind of publications and other things. So we need to understand that when we talk about digital libraries, we are talking about digital resources, and these digital resources are in form of data, in form of scholarship, e-scholarship. So this digital scholarship is sometimes also referred, and that digital scholarship is all about between digital library and digital humanities, because it's a kind of dissemination of information through various journals or various kind of databases and other digital technology platform. The one of the most important component of digital humanity is the cultural heritage. So this digital cultural heritage, which lies in museum, libraries, archives, and in the various form of the data sets, geospatial data, moving images, musical materials, scholarly texts, visual resources. It is a very large part of the uh, uh, ancient literature, ancient historical information. So it is very important to understand that one of the most important component or of the digital humanity is the digital heritage or digital cultural heritage. And in this context, uh, there is a lot of discussion on open cultural data. Open cultural data is also very much part of digital humanities. When we are talking about open cultural data, we are talking about the data which is knowledgeable information of cultural institution, uh, which is accessible without any restrictions. Everybody can consult, use, reuse. The open cultural data is available in digital form. Uh, and open cultural data is prepared to answer questions about the data from interested parties and respect the efforts that open data community invest in developing new applications. And why this culture open data is important, and why this open data is very important, that also part of digital humanities to discuss. culture as a human right, uh, and all the cultural resources belongs to humanities. These resources have been created before the creation of boundaries, countries, and the globes. The entire world was the global world. In the ancient time, there was no country, there was uh, no kind of any global marking. And culture is a key competence for humanities and human development. And culture is also a basis for creativity. So, in that context, uh, all kind of cultural heritage resources, may be in print, non-print, or digital, should be accessible to all individuals and institutions throughout the world. And uh, these kind of resources should be made available with different objectives to all. Uh, Open access to cultural heritage is important because cultural heritage belongs to everyone. Sharing is caring, and it also helps in preservation. And there is no copyrights and ownership issues in cultural heritage. And digitization and digital archiving are very much part of digital community, which help in preserving this data. When we talk about particularly e-scholarship is all about creating contents through e-research in terms of uh, publications, e-publication, e-journals, e-books, and e-monograph, blogs, other. So e-research is also a very important component of digital uh, humanities. And what is e-research? E-research is again the term applied to use of advanced information and communication technology to the practice of research. Key areas include collaboration, computation, and visualization, and research management data tools, research data management tools. So basically, when we are talking about research and innovation, when we are talking about digital humanities, we are talking about the e-research. And e-research also need to be introduced through various kind of e-research literacy initiative. And e-research literacy help in understanding the various use, reuse, and dissemination of various kind of research resources, and also in developing a base for research. So in this context, I think some kind of awareness under this digital humanities about e-research and e-research literacy is also important. Now I'm coming to the last part of the this particular digital humanity concept, and that is languages. Languages, literature are the very much important part of the digital humanities. So in this context, I think one need to understand that when we are talking about languages, India is one of the country which is having big linguistic diversity. Like in when we talk about 1961 survey, about 1652 languages were totally listed in 1961 survey. But now, when we talk about survey, census survey in those 2011, 2001, it was 234, and 2011, the number has reduced to 121. Basically, the census survey has stopped counting the languages which are less than 10,000. And it's a very, in contrary to this, the definition of UNESCO for language endangerment is that the languages which are spoken by less than 2,000 10,000 people are the languages which are come under language endangerment. So I think in this context, we need to understand this importance of languages, and we need to preserve. We need to really keep those languages alive. So in this context, I think as a part of digital humanities, one merely need to understand what is this language endangerment. So there are different kind of classification given by the UNESCO, like how we say that language is an endangered language. There is a criteria for language endangerment. If you see the language world atlas of UNESCO, there are 2,500 languages, and from India, there are only 197, not 192, 197 languages. These 197 languages are in high language endangerment zone. And what is the criteria for language endangerment? Vulnerable. Most of children speak the language. It may be restricted certain domain. Definitely endangered. Children no longer learn the language as mother tongue in the home. Severely endangered. Language is spoken grandparent and older generation, while the parent generation may understand, they don't speak it to children or among themselves. Critically endangered. The youngest speakers are grandparents, and older they speak the language partially, infrequently. Extinct. There are no speakers. So this is the kind of and if you classify, I'm doing a report on this survey, and next month my report will be published. I have done a survey of these languages in India, and I have come across, and as per my findings, there are about no more about 400 languages which there is no data available in any source. So in this context, I think it is one of the very important component of digital humanities to preserve the language through language documentation and digital archiving. So, what is language documentation? Language documentation is the process by which language is documented from documentary linguistic perspective. Language document seeks to create as thorough as record as possible of speech community for both posterity and language revitalization. Language documentation also provides a firmer founder for linguistic analysis like phonetic, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantic, etc. Language documentation is aimed to collect, create audio, video, graph, and text documentation materials to support description of variety of language phenomenon. It also help in to enable the recovery of knowledge of the language even if all the other sources are lost. To generate resources in support of language management and learning, create materials through audio, video, images, written transcription, description, analysis. See, the important example of language documentation archiving, its importance is uh, that in one of the country, I don't recall the name, the language was extinct, and one person get the language resources from the National Archive of that country and able to learn the language. First he learned, then he taught this to his family, and then to community, and that way language was again revived. So in this context, I think language documentation for preservation of languages and mother tongue is very, very important. And uh, there are certain kind of important thing in language documentation are content, format, discovery, access, citation, preservation, and various kind of rights. So there are number of tools which are available for language documentation and archiving. So in this context, I think uh, agency has signed an agreement with the University of North Texas, and one of the eminent linguistic professor Sobna Chalaya, she will be she is visiting India, already arrived in India as a Fulbright scholar, and she will be with the IGNCA. So we are planning to start a certificate course on language documentation and archiving in the next session. We are going to announce that course on language documentation and archiving sometime in February this year, and it will be a course where we plan to train the linguist, the archivist, and the people who are concerned about the languages from the communities. Uh, I'm representing India in the UNESCO Global Task Force on Indigenous Languages. And the aim of this global task force is to prepare a global action plan to celebrate the next decade as a decade of indigenous languages. So, in this context, I think this language documentation and archiving is very, very important. And why to preserve ancient languages and script? When a language or script dies, the knowledge and ability to understand the culture who spoke it is threatened because the teaching, customs, traditions, and other inherent knowledge are no longer transmitted from among native speakers. Number two, language and scripts are our cultural heritage, which gives abundant knowledge of a particular era. It should be preserved so that our cultural diversity will remain as a treasure for youths. If a language or script dies, then we will not be able to read manuscripts, inscriptions, coin, etc. for a particular era. Many manuscripts are still not translated, due to lack of knowledge of scripts of language. Like Brahmi script is one of the example. We are not able to decipher the Brahmi script. Suppose in that ancient time there was a language documentation and archiving, and if that script is, that resources are preserved, we could have easily uh, decipher those Brahmi script. So we don't want that same thing will happen to our Indian languages. Like tomorrow, nobody will able to understand this script. So whatever literature, whatever information we have in these manuscripts or scripts, each and every language should be properly documented, and that way we can. And this is the very important uh, uh, work. And what are the various steps in 5 stages in the language documentation or archiving? Like data collection, recording of media, capturing of moving and analog materials to the digital domain, analysis, transcription, translation, annotation, and notation of metadata, archiving, creating archival objects, and assigning access and usage right, mobilization, publication, and distribution of the material in various forms. So, I think if you want to know more about that, we can discuss sometime else. And what kind of skills required for language documentation? Most important thing is the interest in preservation of languages. Then you also need to understand the project conception, design, and management, how to write a project proposal, various kind of media management, data and metadata management, also mobilization, team-based research, and reporting. So all these things are the part of language documentation and archiving. There are different kind of tools available for language documentation archiving. Like what you need is word processor, HTML, or the other database packages, specialized tools like SOBox and the fieldwork data network. Speech analysis tools include PRAT and speech analysis significance. Signal annotation tools like CLAN, EMU, Tabletrons, Treetrons. And what are the other digital technologies available? Digital signal capture tools, recorder, camera, etc. We also need the various kind of storage device and storage server. So I think what are the important dimensions for language documentation? Content, format, discovery, access, citation, preservation, and right. So we need to preserve it for long term. And in that long term preservation should be, so in that way, digital preservation of languages become a very crucial phenomena. And hence this is a part of digital humanities. Right. So let me conclude this particular talk, the first conceptual talk. My aim was to brief you about various terms, concepts, and issues related to digital humanities. So you might have realized that it is very broad, and there are so many things are part of digital humanities. There are many things which we are doing, but we are not aware that this is part of digital humanities. So it is very important that whatever discipline or domain expertise we are working, we should understand the related terms and concepts, and we should start tagging it or making it very much part of digital humanities. It is a new space for interdisciplinary research, scholarship, and practice with several possibilities for thinking about nature of the intersection of the humanities and technologies. We need to introduce courses at UG and PG level in digital humanities aligned with disciplines like media studies, software, internet studies, archival studies, library science, languages, linguistic, or digital cultural studies. And introduction of programs on application of AR, VR, MR, and various immersive technologies into libraries, museum, monuments, archives in India. So we need to really understand that there are three important stakeholder in that. One is the computer professional, computer, uh, and another is the people from the humanities, subject humanities, and third component is the largely in this library and archival science are linked in almost all. all major projects and discipline, because there is a component of information, archival information, reuse, creating information repositories. So I'm sure, like in every discipline, it may be linguistic, literature, or cultural studies, or media studies. This digital humanity should become component of it, and I think we should identify and we align, and we should develop a course curriculum by taking. It is not necessary that uh, we need to have a. Uh, there are two ways of doing it. One is that we can have a specialized course on digital humanities, and students of other courses can join it as a additional credit course. Other way is that we should identify the components related to that particular discipline and introduce those digital technology component in that particular course. So it is an emerging area. A lot of research is to be done. A lot of defining of the term may be done in the due course of time. But it is very challenging and it is very, very important. I'm sure I have given you some understanding about what is all about digital humanities, what are the various kind of component concepts and tools and other technologies as a part of digital humanities. Now I will stop it here. There are some more references I have given in this PPT, which can be useful in understanding and getting more information about the digital humanities. You can use these references. I also thanks the authors of those resources which I have used in my presentation. And basic purpose of this PPT is to create an awareness about the concept of digital humanities. This is my email ID. So thank you very much for you all for patience hearing.